Fitter.
And I'm Laverne Dede.
And welcome to this episode of Cooking Crave. Today we are going to make 3 bread recipes that are easy. One is a banana bread, one is a lemon poppy seed bread, and another is an apple bread. They were all submitted by Bernie Zastapel of Dickinson. And here is Laverne to show us how to make these breads.
Okay. Well, I have all the ingredients here to get started. We're going to start with the lemon bread, and this one is so easy to make because you're going to start with a lemon cake mix, and just pour that in there.
And when making breads, do you generally just use one loaf, or do you like to use small loaf pans to make several different?
Okay, I like to make the smaller loaf pans versus the one bigger bread size loaf pan.
Okay.
And that it's easier, especially if you make several loaves, and that it's nice to give as a gift, or if you want to just take some over to a neighbor or give them to your daughter. You can
Certainly.
you can give her a small loaf and not the whole loaf.
Right. And daughters really appreciate that.
All right. So, and then the next ingredient was instant lemon pudding mix, and this is just a small box. It says 3.4 ounces.
Okay.
So we put that in there. It asks for half a cup of oil, so we're going to add that. And again, I just used some vegetable oil here.
Sure.
There. And it asks for 4 eggs. So I'm going to already have the eggs broken here and ready to go.
And with some of the holidays that are coming up, breads are always a good thing to take over if you're invited over for a potluck at family. Breads are they always go over well.
Oh, very much so. So now we're going to just go ahead and mix this up. I'm not going to, you want it mixed good, but not beat it, really on high. You just want it mixed nice and that. So got my handy mixer here then. So like we said, 1 box of lemon cake mix, 1 box of instant lemon pudding, 1/4 cup oil, 4 eggs, and 1 cup water. And we'll just add that in there. I scraped the bowl, and now we're going to just mix it a little bit, and then we add 1/4 cup poppy seeds. I'll just turn that off there, and now I'll just blend it.
Having a mixer really does speed up the process of these easy breads as well.
It makes it nice. Yeah, and this way too, when you're mixing, you can do something other than just standing there with the mixer. You can utilize your time more. So I added the poppy seed, and I'm going to just blend the poppy seed a little bit more in because some of it got to the side of the bowl.
I always think poppy seed bread lemon poppy seed is such a colorful bread. It's a nice, appealing, eye-appealing bread.
Yes, plus very flavorful.
Definitely.
I mean, lemon is one of my favorite flavorings. Lemon pie, cake, pudding, and that. So So now we're going to go ahead and I prepared 3 pans here to put being they are a little bit smaller. I'm going to go ahead and use 3, and I do have a glass one, and I have the regular, metal pans. You can use any one of those. So
it doesn't matter of baking time or anything like that?
No, it'll be just fine.
Okay.
So we'll just add in there. And you want to make it about half full there. And I just you can use spray shortening to grease your pans, or you can use regular Crisco or whatever, but I guess I just like to use the spray cans. They're so much easier.
Definitely, and you don't have the mess on fingers, or it's a little bit cleaner process than using Crisco.
And they also have the spray shortening, or I should say, like your pans or whatever that has flour in it for when you're baking cakes and stuff, where it says, you know, to grease your pan and flour it.
Oh.
And you can, and it's nice to use that spray that already has the flour in it.
Definitely.
So
one less step.
There we go. We clean that out, and so we're going to just set that over here on the stove, because we are going to make, you know, 2 other kinds. We can bake them all together and stuff. So we're going to just set that over here on the stove, and then we will get started with the next. Okay, now we finished mixing up our lemon poppy seed bread. We're going to start with an apple bread, and this is very moist and tasty, and you know, it actually has quite a bit of cinnamon in it. It has 4 teaspoons of cinnamon, and that really brings out the flavor with the apples and all of that. So we're going to start with the liquids. We're going to add 4 eggs, and it asks for 1 cup of oil, and 2 cups sugar. And so we're going to blend that a little bit, and then we will add our dry ingredients, and it also asks for 3 tablespoons of vanilla. The recipe says 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a half a teaspoon of baking powder.
Okay.
And 4 teaspoons of cinnamon and 3 tablespoons of vanilla, and in the dry ingredients there also is a teaspoon of salt. So
okay.
So we got that blended pretty well. So we'll just slowly add our dry ingredients, you know, and it's not that big of a batter, so we're going to just add all 3 cups at once, and add the baking powder and the 4 teaspoons of cinnamon.
That actually is quite a bit of cinnamon, so if you want to have, you could always do a lesser amount of cinnamon, because that is a flavorful ingredient.
Right. You know, but cinnamon is so healthy for you. So
it is very healthy, yes.
So what better to have it than in some nice bread. So we blend this well, and then I'm going to add my vanilla. And this batter is a little bit stiffer than like the lemon poppy seed one was.
I do see that it's not a runny batter by any means.
Right. So we're going to just lift that up, and we just want to just scrape that down a little bit, make sure that we have all the flour and baking soda and that off the side of the pan or the mixing bowl. Got it turned around.
And is this not, obviously we're not beating it very long either, just making sure it's just well blended again.
Right. You don't need to beat it for a long time. A period of, you know, just a minute or 2, just till it's blended well. And even cake mixes, you can overbeat that, and it will make a cake mix crumblier, you know, if you beat it too long. So when they say beat it 2 minutes on medium, that's what you should do. Okay, and now we're going to add, we cut up to 2 cups of chopped apples here, and I chop them fairly fine, and I didn't peel the apples. You know, it isn't necessary once it's baking, and you have a lot of, you know, good vitamins and nutrition in peeling, so it's good not. So
is there a specific brand of apples that you prefer? You know, like Granny Smith obviously is more tart apple, or do you use a sweeter apple? What is your preference?
With this, I think any apple is going to work well. I've used like Granny Smith. In fact, this one here that I have is the Fuji apples.
Okay.
Any one. I like the Fuji, the Gala, or the Granny Smith better than your Red Delicious apples or whatever, because they're a little bit softer or whatever.
Right.
But this is good. So we just put the apples in, and I just mix that up with my spatula. And again, we will. This one here does make a little bit more in here, so we're going to use about 4 small bread pans.
Okay.
Okay, and let's just put that batter in here. And like I said, it's definitely a stiffer batter.
You can smell the cinnamon definitely just as you're dishing that out into these pans. It's a nice aroma.
Oh, let's get into the side here. Well, I'm getting a little bit on the side, but we'll just clean that up before we put that in the oven.
Yeah, this is going to make some nice bread. And do you top this with a streusel of some time, or this is how it goes into the oven?
Okay. We're actually going to put just drizzle a little bit of brown sugar on top, and that's a matter of preference. If you like it, that's fine. But if you don't, I mean, it just adds a little bit of texture and, like I said, a little bit of streusel look on there. So, and you can put a little or as much on as you like. Again, it's just a matter of preference. And you don't even have to put any on if you don't choose to do so. So we're going to take those and we're going to set them here on top of the stove, and we're going to mix up our banana bread, and we'll be able to bake those all at once. So we're going to start with our ingredients. It calls for 2 eggs.
And there's a lot of different variations of banana bread, just as I'm looking at the ingredients here. I don't use all these ingredients, but this is going to be an interesting to see how the end result is.
Yes, so well, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So we put 2 eggs in there. We're going to add a cup of sugar, and our other ingredient is a cup of sour cream. And it makes your bread very moist. And one thing too, if you don't have sour cream, buttermilk works very well in this also.
Okay.
So you certainly can modify the recipe, and it'll turn out just really good that way too. And we'll add our bananas. And what I did is I had some bananas in the freezer. I didn't have any bananas that were ready or too ripe, so I just took some out of the freezer. You can freeze bananas for banana bread, and it actually is more flavorful. And you just throw them in the freezer with the peeling on. You can put them in a plastic bag if you want, but you don't have to. You can just throw them in the freezer and then just let them thaw when you're ready to use them. And it asks for 3 to 4 bananas. So now we're going to just mix up our ingredients here. Okay, we are adding the 2 cups flour there with the pinch of salt and the teaspoon of soda.
Okay.
And we just need to blend that here. I could have let the mixer really go fast, and we could have flour all over us, and then it looked like
like we've been slaving all day.
That's right.
Which is always a bad thing. And the nice thing with banana bread, this is a bread that I've had a lot of different variations where people will add chocolate chips or nuts, and you can pretty much add what you want to a banana bread.
Right, yes.
I even have a recipe that calls for pineapple. It's more of a fruit bread then. Okay.
I haven't tried that one, but that sounds really good. So it would keep it nice and moist too, wouldn't it?
It would.
Okay. And now we're going to add 1/2 cup of walnuts. And again, we like nuts and walnuts in our bread. A lot of people don't like nuts. Some people are allergic. So again, your recipe is going to turn out just fine if you don't add the nuts. So
okay.
Again, and that's where you could go ahead and or add the chocolate chips or something else that you know your family likes. So we just blend that, and that is done. Okay, and again, we're going to go ahead and get some small loaf pans here. Now actually when I'm looking here, I have 3 small loaf pans. We'll see if this is going to, yeah, that should be about right. I was thinking we might have too much batter for these pans, but it's going to work out just perfect. Well, we've preheated our oven to 350 and it's already ready to go, and we can bake all 3 breads at once. Now, normally you may not be baking 3 different kinds of breads all at once, but in the event you do, you know that you can bake them all at once. We're going to have it at 350. The lemon bread is asking for about 40 to 45 minutes, so I'll set my timer for that time and take those out, and then we'll continue baking the banana bread and the apple bread for about another 10 minutes. So we're going to put that in the oven. There we go, and we got all those in.
We do.
So now we'll just close that up, and I'm going to set my timer for 45 minutes for my lemon poppy seed bread. In fact, I'm only going to probably start about 40 minutes, and when the buzzer goes off, we'll check it to make sure it's done. You don't want to overbake it and stuff. So, okay, Rhonda, our buzzer's going off, so we need to check our lemon bread. I'm going to just turn off the timer for a moment here. I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to just insert it into there. Oh, it's coming out nice and clean, so I know that lemon bread is done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the timer for another 10 minutes for the other breads.
All right.
So we're going to take that out there. Oh, and you can just see all those breads in there baking. Okay, the lemon bread is about cool to take out of the pan, but I think our banana bread is about ready to take out. So let's check that.
All right.
And we'll just poke that right in. Oh, that looks good. The apple bread will probably be a couple more minutes. It shows about 4 minutes for the apple bread, but let's take out the banana bread.
All right.
Okay. Let's just bring that over here to the cooling rack. Okay.
And to the untrained eye, it looks like the poppy seed bread has almost fallen, or is that the way it's supposed to be?
Right. The poppy seed bread won't rise above the pan like your banana and apple bread will. And then we didn't have the pans quite as full in here, but no, they're done. So let's flip them out and see how they turn out.
Okay.
And if you're not sure that your bread, will come out easily, you can just go around the edges just to make sure it comes out. I think that glass is a little bit hot yet, so I'm going to just turn that over there. And there we go.
Oh, they're smelling so wonderful.
Okay, so let's just, that one come out good. And, okay.
And this isn't one that you want to turn back over onto.
You don't need to flip it over. No,
okay.
That will be fine. The top wasn't, raised up above.
Okay.
So yes, but the banana bread, because those are usually a little bit easier to take out, I think we can get them out right away. The lemon bread, because we used a cake mix, it is a little bit thinner batter when we start. So you want to make sure that you cool that a little bit, where like banana bread, apple bread will come out of the pan really easily right away.
All right.
So it's really neat to be able to have these little pans. You know, growing up, when we didn't have those little pans when I grew up, but then when there was a family of 10, little pans wouldn't have gone very far anyway.
No, you would have needed a couple big loaves too.
That's
to
right.
feed everybody.
So just look at how nice those turned out, and we'll be cutting into them as soon as the apple bread is ready, and just show you the finished product. And
sounds great.
We might even be able to have a sample of it. Well, our buzzer is going off for our apple bread, so let's just double check to make sure that that is done. I'll just turn the timer off so it doesn't keep buzzing at me. Okay. Oh, that's coming out nice. So we will turn the oven off, and we will take those out and put them on the rack to cool for just a moment. So we'll just have that sit here just to cool a moment. I think those are ready just to flip out of the pan here. Our pans were pretty full, so it did just come over the edge just a tiny bit, but you know, I think they will taste just the same.
Actually, I think that's probably one of the best parts of the bread is the top part, so that there's more to it, I think is awesome.
Yeah, didn't it make a nice streusel, just adding that little bit of brown sugar to the top?
It did.
Okay. We'll set that up right here. And you know, I think we can probably start cutting a couple of pieces of our lemon bread and see how that turned out.
Wonderful.
So I'm going to just pull out the cutting board and bring that here, and we're just going to flip that over here. I'm going to use an electric knife, especially being it's still warm. This way it's not going to crumble as easily as if you were trying to use a regular knife.
Okay.
Okay. Let's look at how nice that looks.
And it's still steaming. The butter's just going to melt on those.
It will. So we'll cut a couple of pieces of our banana bread and see how well that turned out. And if you're like my family, as soon as it comes out of the oven, you want to cut that heel off and eat it when it's warm. That's the best. So see how nice, and you know, it's baked nice and it was easy to cut. I think we'll try one of the apple breads. That might be, but you know, it's a firmer bread, so I think it will be okay to cut.
And you definitely see the chunks of apple in the apple bread too, which is, they look wonderful.
Okay. Can't you smell the cinnamon?
Yes.
That cinnamon there. So we'll just put them on the plate, and then you know, you add, if you want some butter to that, and we'll just butter a couple of them here, and you'll just see how, or even just put a little bit of butter on and let it melt on its own. And we'll leave a couple without butter, because you know, everybody does not like butter, but you know, it just gives it a good flavoring. And you know, if you want to have your banana bread, and you know, the next day, just pop it in the microwave, just heat it for a few seconds, and it's just like you took it out of the oven again.
It does, and then the butter melts just as easily.
Right. So there we go.
They look absolutely wonderful. And thank you again, Laverne, for showing us how to make these different kinds of bread.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
We got lemon poppy seed, banana bread, and a apple bread. And these were again submitted by Bernie Zastapol of Dickinson. And thank you for joining us on Cooking Crave today. We would like you to go to Consolidated's webpage, www.ctctel.com, and you could see these recipes and try them for yourselves, and also submit a recipe that you would like to see on our show. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you.